Hello, we're live. Hey everyone, I'm really excited to share this with you. This is all about the full moon in Virgo ceremony that we're having tonight. I've got my laptop up and my phone on top of my laptop, so you're going to see my eyes going back and forth as I'm sharing with you this information. So I'm really excited about this full moon because this is something that kind of like I did a full moon ceremony right before the pandemic, but I didn't do one since then. And since I have been reading so much about our history of different times in time, before we had the patriarchy, before we had the government, the religious structures, and the war machine, as I've been reading all this information, I'm finding out how significant of a role the moon plays in our life, especially as a woman. So I'm really happy to share this with you because I think it's going to transform you probably along the same lines as it has been transforming me. Now, before we get started, I wanted to mention my necklace. This is a 𝗲𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗲. I think I'm saying it correctly. Before the patriarchy, we had defensive war. And after the patriarchy, we had offensive war, where it was all about conquest. And if you know me at all, you know I am obsessed with the cycle of abuse. And I have been spending the last 5 years trying to find out what went wrong in the natural order of cause and effect and who was the first bad guy. Because I really have been on this mission to resolve why it is that we inflict the cycle of abuse on ourselves, primarily with the binge cycle. But now, as what has been happening in the world, I'm more and more focused on what is the actual structure that we're living under and how can we actually create peace and how can we transform humanity? How can we make all these little nice inspirational memes on the internet come to life to where we really can make a significant change in the world. And the more that I've been getting into this study, I have found out that there is a significant time on February 20th of 2026 when we have a conjunction with two planets that represent discipline and control and masculine energy, and then feminine, that fluidity and psychic intuition. They're going to be near each other, very, very close to each other in the sign of Aries at 0 degrees, which Aries is the beginning of the zodiac and 0 degrees is the very beginning. So it's like, this is the time that we're really going to birth a new era in humanity. And because the energies represent embodiment into our intuition, we're able to do the inner work now leading up to it, so that when the conjunction happens and when the representative energy that is AI versus humanity, like human intuition being natural, that is what's kind of up against the other energy. And so if you've been looking into what's happening in the bioengineering world, you know that the next step is to have a transhuman person, to where we're going to have computer parts inside of our body making decisions for us. And this really alarms me because I'm thinking, okay, if it's bioengineering and there is some sort of a foreign object that has to do with a computer inside of our body, and computers respond with electromagnetic signals, who's the person behind the button of the electromagnetic signal that is going to tell these devices inside of our bodies what to do? That really worries me. And so the more that I have been putting my worry into something productive, the more I'm like, okay, this is the time for embodiment work. This is the time for us to actually get into our bodies, get rid of all of the limiting beliefs, process the negative energy, process the stored emotions, so that we can hear really, really well our intuition, to listen to our bodies as the intuitive device that it truly is. So when I was putting that together and I thought about the moons, I thought, wait, I should totally host full moon and new moon circles or ceremonies so that we can really get together, women can get together and and use the energy of the moon as we used to before the Bronze Age, before it became about offensive offensive conquest, instead of living in harmony with nature and with each other. So what we're doing tonight with the full moon in Virgo is we are harvesting all of the wisdom, all of the inner work that we've been putting in up until this point, especially with the new moon that we had 6 months ago. And you don't have to know exactly what it was that you had intended in the new moon 6 months ago. All you have to do is follow the journal prompts that I'm going to be providing for you during the ceremony to actually get introspective while you're in the ceremony and beyond. Because there's about a 2-week period between the full moon and the new moon that you're actually going to be able to be releasing things that don't serve the wisdom that you're harvesting. And there's a lot of negative, well, there's the highlight reel of all of these energies, and then there's also the negative or the shadow side of the energies. And so what we're going to do tonight is take a look at where the low octave or the shadow element of Virgo is showing up in your life, where you're being too restrictive, where you're having too much perfectionism, where you're having too much judgment, so that you can use the higher octave or the light aspect of Virgo, which is the earth goddess, which is in some indigenous cultures is the corn moon or the corn mother, to where we're really going to be able to see and delineate and use our wisdom. So like if you think about it like this, that if this is the goddess energy of the earth and this is about harvest, if you had a farm that had different crops that blossomed or that came to harvest during this time of the year in March of 2025, and there were several different vegetables that were going to come to be ripe enough to pick. Well, you're going to have like 5 different vegetables maybe that you're going to be able to make this amazing dinner. So really what we're doing with this Virgo energy tonight is we're going to take a look at the places that you have really grown, some of the painful experiences that lend you to be really smart in the future. And it makes me think of this movie that I just watched. It's called 𝗻●, and it's a remake of like a 1939 movie. And this movie, like, I think they made it like 2001 or 2011 or something. And the female archetypes that are in the movie are really awesome. Like, they did a pretty good job of giving us archetypal energy to observe in a playful, entertainment way. But one of the things that was said from a mother to a daughter about her broken heart, they both had a broken heart because both of the husbands had cheated. And she said, but the good news is that your heart will never get broken like this again. And I could definitely see how that would be a negative statement, but also the healing that you would have to do after you were cheated on in a marriage, you'd have to really create a deep sense of wholeness within yourself so that you could repair the relationship and feel a sense of certainty that no matter what, you've got you. No matter what type of betrayal you might experience, you'll be okay. So I really like that statement in the movie that from this point on, nobody's going to be able to break your heart like this. And that's what I myself and what I want to remind you and myself of is that we have to take these experiences and extract the wisdom so that when there's an experience similar to it, it's not going to take us out. And so that's what we're really focusing on tonight in the Virgo full moon. And then I'm going to give journal prompts so that for the 2 weeks after, you know how to release the things that aren't serving you. Because this way, as we meet for a full moon and we talk about the culmination of our experiences to create wisdom to move forward, to then release what's not needed, to then come together again for a new moon where we're going to plant seeds for what we want to see ripen 6 months from now in the next full moon. And then also what we want to experience also within our menstrual cycle. because before the patriarchy, when we were in a matriarchal society, an egalitarian society where there was no hierarchy of gender, of class, of race, of money, everything was equal. It was power meets power, equal power but different was the way of the matriarchy. And the menstrual cycle of the woman was actually a revered ritual for the entire community. And so, what we're also doing in these moon ceremonies is also relating to our own individual menstrual cycles. Because as we have our menses begin, that's the new moon. That's when we get to create something and have it grow. And then, as we move into the luteal phase, that's when we're actually starting to culminate the wisdom so that we can have the full moon to really experience the culmination of whatever that beginning intention was of the previous menstrual cycle. And so this way, what we're doing is we're working with our own individual bodies, and then we are working with the moon so that leading up to the conjunction on February 20th of 2026, where it's a transhuman agenda against the natural human body, we are going to be more attuned to our own intuition, which our electromagnetic signal is going to impact people that are around us. And we probably won't fall for the solution that we're going to get provided because of the problems that are being created by the top down. So when you start to see this game of how the institutions want to keep the people a leg down, then you can actually prepare for the shenanigans and really comprehend what is going on, what's being presented to us. So this is incredibly meaningful for me. I'm telling you exactly why I'm doing this, because this is like a humanity game for me. Like this what is happening in the world and the suffering and the murder that's happening because of it, like no, like I'm not on board with it. And so with my expertise and my experience, this is how like I feel like I'm contributing to this in a positive way instead of just running around being pissed off and sad about it all the time, because I'm pissed off and sad about it all the time. So anyways, so I want to invite you to this tonight. It's going to be so amazing. The new moon is happening on March 29th. So if you can't make it tonight, you can come to the new moon. But if you want to sign up tonight, you'll go to laurensarcione.com/moon-ceremonies, or just go to laurensarcione.com and click on moon ceremonies. And then if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go to my pinned post or my most recent post. If you're watching this on Instagram, go to my highlight reel. And then if you are watching this on YouTube, it is too late, but you can watch the replay because the replay will be posted, although we will not have any of the conversational part where women are sharing their experiences. That part will not be on display for the whole world to listen to, but you will be able to listen to the insights about the energy and how to use it.